Dobrý den, vážení diváci. Dnes budeme mít velice zajímavého hosta. Je jím člověk, který založil mnoho firem, které úspěšně provozoval, pohyboval se také v konzultačním prostředí a zjistil, že pro úspěch jakékoliv společnosti je zde několik zásadních překážek. A to je korupční prostředí, je to klientelismus a vůbec celý pokroucený systém. A tak se rozhodl, že to změní. A protože mu byla blízká přímá demokracie, tak založil stranu Přímé demokracie. Ne u nás, ale v Bulharsku. Strana se jmenuje Demokracie a já dovolte mi, abych přivítal Petra Klissarova. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
I have a first question for you. After the information about draft notice, collab papers in Bulgaria was published, many people asked if it's a hoax or if it's true. And people have not been able to find any information in the media, especially in the mainstream media. And what is that? Is it true, or can you describe the situation?
It is true. Of course, these are personal documents. They came out in Facebook. The people saw the documents. What is unusual is that we are living in a peacetime. So obviously the army needs to keep a record of the people that can be drafted. But usually the drafts are implemented when there is some need for it. Obviously this need is given from probably the NATO headquarters to start preparing lists of the people that are able to be drafted and be sent to the front. Bulgarians generally don't want to get involved. We feel very close with the Russians. We feel like brothers with them, and they also feel towards us that way. And this is a trick that it's played from the behind-the-scene powers. Right now we have a war between brothers in Ukraine. And in this war, if they can bring other nations, it will be even better for them. In one so-called white gene pool, you have people that kill each other. Unfortunately for the people from the West, the so-called white gene pool have people with abilities to create, to love, to work in a different way. Not the one that is imposed on us, but in the way with the traditions, with the family, with love for the motherland, with the desire to help your brothers, to deal with them, and to live in peace with them. This is obviously not in the plans of the people that rule the world at the moment. And the war between Russia and Ukraine is not enough. Most likely they're going to try to bring Poland. Poland is already in that. And what is the next close one? Romania and Bulgaria, because we are on the coast of the Black Sea. There is plans to have a NATO command base in Varna, which it's direct front line with Russia. If you go on a straight line through the Black Sea, it's 180 kilometers or something like this, so very short distance. And the front line is dragged closer and closer to the Russia. The new front line basically is from Finland, which just joined the NATO, and Bulgaria. When you draw the line, that's the new front line. Unfortunately, we are right on the fence, and we have many unhappy people with this that started collecting signatures for the so-called Freedom March. The idea of this Freedom March is that the Bulgaria wants to be neutral, doesn't want to send weapons, doesn't want to send people there. And for that, they chose the participation of the people, but the law is extremely heavy and difficult to be fulfilled. And the idea is to create 600,000 signatures to force the government to have referendum on should we be neutral or should we take a side. And we see this at the moment. But to take you back to the draft papers, they are real. And people have seen them, and people are called to be asked in what condition they are, what they work, and all this. So this is not a hoax, this is true, and it's happening. The powers behind the scenes have for centuries mastered different approaches how something to be accepted when it's unacceptable. This is the overtone position, how they work. That's what it's called, overtone. Let's say something is absolutely unacceptable, how to make it little by little acceptable. So they're working parallel on many fronts, and if something gets stopped from the people, other advance. And that's how they manage to create and impose on the people things that are absolutely not acceptable for the society in general.
It seems that Bulgaria will be the country to sacrifice its people to American interests. And you have this experience for long term. Can you tell us more about?
In the previous National Assembly, there was a law passed that 50 officers from Bulgaria will go to support the NATO troops, and it's not specified in European countries or in Ukraine itself. This is again opening the door. Now it's 50, the next day maybe 250 because one of them was killed. So we have to do something, we have to punish them, let's send 500 or maybe more. This is the way I was explaining that it works. But the people have awakened. They don't want that, and they will fight it. We have also another problem. We have 3 military bases American on our territory, which basically we cannot monitor, we cannot verify what is there. It's a jurisdiction that it's in your country, and you have no right to do anything with them. You don't know if there is nuclear weapons there, or obviously their target if something happened. The contract for this American bases expires next year, and it's extremely important that it's not renewed. But obviously, the Americans have different opinion on that. The question is, are the people the sovereign that tells his politicians what to do, or behind the scene powers install the politicians and tell them what to do? This is what we are fighting with. So I don't think that we sacrifice Bulgarians in a general way. We'll do everything we can. And this is the first step, to realize what the problem is. And once you realize, to look for solutions, how not to achieve something like this.
You are the founder of the Reform Party, which was transformed to Direct Democracy Party. And you also written books about direct democracy. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us more details about
yes,
the book?
For the people that are not very familiar with the whole process, the direct democracy started in ancient Athens. But the problem there was that you cannot fit more than 2,000 or 3,000 people on the public square, the center of the city. And usually the longest and the loudest screaming people taking over the other that are more quiet. So that was not full democracy. In Athens at that time was about 30,000 people living, and only 6,000 had the right to vote. So the women, the people from not two citizens of the city cannot vote, the slaves cannot vote, so it wasn't full democracy. And there is other many reasons why it didn't work and it stopped at that time. What the technology and the evolution offered us, it's the smart devices, the one you're holding in your hand, which gives us the chance, every single person that do have one smartphone or tablet in his hands, to be asked what does he think on certain issue, then the policy to be formed with the experts, and then to be decided by the people. So they vote like the way we do on referendums. But we have a difference. Many people say, oh, that's the Swiss model. No, it's not the Swiss model. The Swiss model, it's good for them. They have a way of working and managing, but it's slow, expensive, and in some cases can be manipulated. In 2018, there was a referendum for the full money. Full money, it means that the banks can give loans only that much money as they have deposited in their bank. So if the depositors give 1,000 Swiss francs to the bank cannot loan more than 1,000 Swiss francs. Many people don't realize that the private banks create money, not the central banks, the private banks. Every time they give you a loan, they create money. So the Swiss people decided that they don't want this creation to continue because these are money on a paper, digital money, not cash in your hands. And they started referendum. The Swiss government chose the longest possible period for debates, and with the bankers, with the medias, with the advertisement companies, they brainwashed totally the Swiss people, and they voted 75% against. The main argument was that we don't know how this system is going to work, so it's dangerous and it will crash, so better not to try. So let's stick with the old one. Although it doesn't work, let's stick with it. So this is an example of how it could be manipulated. So if somebody tells me this cannot be manipulated, it could. In our case, instead of being slow, expensive, and possible to manipulate, we have fast, efficient, and cheap system to do so. Right now, the elections in Bulgaria cost about 100 million leva every time. We have 5 already. Now we're going against for the 6th one. If election is held by the smart devices, it's going to cost 5, 10, 15 million, say 20, it's not 100. It's much cheaper. If mistake is made, very easily can be ratified. You don't have to go to collecting signature, you don't have to go to 2 years debating and fixing it. So if a smart politician somehow tricks the people and they see it, within 3 weeks they can start petition, people vote and change the subject that was misled by the politician. If the politician make mistake, not intentional, again, okay, we did the mistake, let's fix it quick. So this system is much more faster. But we're talking about the system. What we have created is solving the problems of the representative democracy, that this democracy, the representative democracy, doesn't possess the mechanism to fix mistakes. How the current system works. You choose one party with a leader and 2, 3 people around this leader. They go into the parliament. Then they decided who is going to be the prime minister and who the ministers are going to be. So usually when the new government is formed, you see 15, 20 faces of people that you only know 2, 3 of them, the rest you don't know. Why they're in the government, who puts them there, for what reasons, unknown. I'm not even going to start with the deputy ministers that are the one that signed all the documents that if something happens should go into the jail, but that's a different story. So you choose the party chooses the executive power, and both of them choose the judicial power. So we don't have separation of the powers whatsoever. We have partocracy, and it's partocracy with hidden financing from the oligarchs, and then you don't know what these oligarchs are and what they want, and why they install these people. In our system, we have parallel elections for executive power with prime minister and ministers announced before platform and program how they're going to run these 4 years the country. They are every party that applies for the executive power in the national television. It's asked by specialists, by journalists, how they're going to deal with their sector, how the prime minister going to perform with all these ministers. Each minister explains how he's going to run his ministry. So if you decide that you like 2 or 3 parties, you watch 2 ministers of one cabinet, 2 ministers of the other, and you decide. I like to know how the medicine is going to work, the social, and the foreign policy. And you decide for which party to vote. So we have elections for executive power. We have parallel election for the judicial power, the people in the parliament. And they do not belong to a party. They belong to the region in the country and represent the people. So all the candidates for members of parliaments have to be from the local cities, not from the party and from the capital, usually how it works. And the people should know who they sent there. Parallel with this, you can do, but maybe not at the same time and different, each institution, like the commission for the election, the chief of the national television and radio, the chief of the regulatory body. So all these people are chosen individually from the people after presenting how they're going to do it, and then the people choose who to be. The coalitions are forbidden. You cannot make coalitions. So let's say we have one vote more than you. So we get the executive power to rule the country. If we wanted to pass a law, we go into the parliament and propose how the law should look. And then every party that have passed 5% comes to the parliament and start debate with us. This is good, this is not good. So the debate is between the ruling party and the opposition parties in front of the members of parliament that do not belong to any party. Mm-hmm. And we're returning the medias to the rightful place that they should be as being mediators. So they sit in the middle and they show if we as a ruling party wants to do something that it's not in the interest of the people. They can show to the people, look, they promise one thing, they propose another. If the members of parliament decide to do something that is not in the interest of the people that they represent from the region that they're elected, the media shows that and the people see it. And this is the big difference between the representative democracy and ours. We implement mechanism of control. The politician is elected because he promises something. I promise I'll do this. And when I'm elected and I'm in the government for 4 years, you have no mechanism to get me out there and to make me do what I promise. You can do this in 4 years, eventually. But then somebody can install in my place somebody else who will do again whatever they want. So we are proposing mechanism for getting people out of the parliament, not only in the 4 years, but in the midterm. How it works. Somebody files application in the committee for the election and says, listen, I have problem with this. I want to start a petition and collect signatures because he promised this and he doesn't deliver. Within a week, 1 million people signed this document electronically and the guy is gone. We have also zero tolerance for corruption or not fulfilling the promises that you give to be elected. Once you're getting out of the system that way, you can never return for the politician or working for the government to that system. That mechanism solves the problems that we have with the separations of the power and the mechanism to recall the people that either don't perform well, are corrupt, or don't fulfill the obligation and the things that they've been chosen for. This is the unique thing. And combined with the smart devices that you have in you, this is just technology, this can be done very quickly and efficient. Now, if we have a situation that right now we had, again, very heavy traffic accident, 2 young people were killed, and suddenly in the whole sadness of everybody, we hear very frustrated people that wants to do things that are absolutely not appropriate for the whole society in general. So you cannot allow, even if something like this happen and something very wrong happen and you have very strong voice, usually the politician, to satisfy this, will allow more and more and more restrictions that will lead to a situation when once you have restrictions that the people cannot follow, they stop following and they start breaking the law. So this is art, how to make the law such to be fair. The politicians cannot do this in general in the world right now. They do, if they cannot solve a problem, they start putting restrictions. The more restrictions you put, the more unhappy the people are. So this is the problem with all these installed politicians, not the people with vision how to solve the problem in the best interest of both sides. This mechanism will give us this opportunity that I'm talking about.
And how do you see the future of the current political system, and can it be implemented in the European Union?
The current political system, the representative democracy, I just explained, cannot continue. And many people in Europe, especially, see that there is problems, and more and more we hear talks about it. I'm here now in the Czech Republic talking to you. Slovaks will also participate in these debates. We're talking with people in England, in Germany. There was question from Macedonia, can we work together with them? In Italy, there is some interest about this, but not the current government. Their prime minister was elected on the base that she will do one thing, and she turns to do exactly the opposite. So I don't think how long she's going to survive there. There is no way that this system can continue. Something has to replace it. What we are saying is that the direct democracy is the final and superior way of the democracy. And many people that are disappointed in democracy may not believe at first, but this is going to give, for the first time in the human history, the situation in which the people are equal to the sovereign, and they will be able to, when they say something, the word to mean something. I have explained to people when they ask me how exactly does it work, I explain it, they cannot get it the first time, and I do another example. I'm asking him, do you have a smartphone? Yes, I do. What do you do to call me? You pull it out, you press the button, you press one more button, then you talk to me. Do you know how the mechanism works? You don't, but you know that it works. So if we give the people mechanism and they start using it, and start saying their opinion and see that their opinion counts and matters, they're going to use it more and more and more. So we need to teach them that the power belongs to them and they delegate this power. The people from the representative democracy are saying the people are dumb and stupid, they cannot rule themselves, and they cannot tell us how to run the country. This is for the expert and the specialist. And when I ask him, if the people are dumb and they cannot rule themselves, are they dumb when they have to elect you as an expert? And they don't have an answer on this. We hear this nonsense, we're going to make governments of experts. The experts are supposed to help the politicians, the visionaries. And we don't have people with vision how the future of Europe will look, how the future of our country will look. Right now we have installed actors that are listening somebody that nobody elected. This inevitably will be changed with the internet. It doesn't matter how much the algorithms sanctions the YouTube channels or stop publishing things because you mentioned the COVID vaccines or anything like this. The people, even if they are not expert, even if they are not fully aware of something, they have sense what is right and what is wrong. And it's definite with the current system, something is wrong. Nobody comes out and says, listen, I propose this. We propose the direct democracy in the format that I just explained to you. We don't know if it's going to work. The chance to work, it's great. And we have to do it together somehow for this to work. with everything that is happening in the world, the centralized digital bank currency, CBDCs, the electronic ID, that it's going to be used also as a wallet for crypto, digital money, not crypto. For the people that don't know what the CBDCs are, very easy, we have to explain. If we have a cryptocurrency, which is private means of exchange between people, me to you, peer to peer, the CBDC is the total opposite. It's controlled and produced by the bank, and it has full control how to spend it, where to spend it. It can be stopped. It can be used for punishment if you do something that the government doesn't like. So for all these things that are going right now and are implemented, we have 114 countries that do have projects for CBDCs in the world right now. We have 17 countries that have implemented it. Bahamas, Nigeria, the most obvious, China, of course, the most advanced in this process. We have directives in the European Union and in the World Bank for the digital IDs, and they work in the different areas of the world. So this is going, again, parallel everywhere. For the people to be able to somehow fight with this and counter, the direct democracy is a tool that can be used. Of course, people can get the stones and the pitchforks and go on the street and start killing rich people and fight with the system. But this is not the desirable one. What we're proposing is a system in which the many will tell the few with the power how we want our lives to be run. Once this system shows that it works and gives the power to the people, then more and more countries and people will start using it. Many people are asking me, why do you think you're going to succeed in Bulgaria? The answer is very simple. First of all, we are in the European Union, and we are the weakest link in the European Union. If we have to start such a system in a country like Russia or States or England, it's going to be impossible, because these are very strong police states that control their people and population. Bulgaria being such a weak state, we have the chance for something like this to succeed. And we see the result. We are the only party in Bulgaria that translated their platform in English. And once we put it, it ends up to people that read the platform, and that's why I'm here now talking to you. Because you see that these have potential for your country. When they ask me in Bulgaria, why are you doing it? I said, listen, the way this is made, it's not made only for Bulgaria. Every country can take it and use it in their country and start forming their own life the way they want. Not to be told what to do, but unknown people or by their own politicians that are told what and how to manipulate the country. That's why I think this is a great tool for many reasons. Once, to fight the slavery of the digital slavery that it's prepared for us in front of our eyes. And second, to the people to start realizing things that they really want. My opinion is that we need to make everything possible in the next election in June next year to put as many people in the European Parliament. And even if we put one, hopefully we get into it, we need to start initiating conversation with other countries. What we do right now with you. Listen, do you want to be controlled centrally by the European Commission, by administration that nobody elected, and for them to tell you what to do? Or you want to reform the European Union? The direct democracy is exactly that tool to give us the chance to reform the European Union. And the way we see it to be reformed is not to have administration whatsoever. That doesn't mean that, let's say, all the foreign ministers get together and decide what is the policy of Europe against the war in Russia and Ukraine. So yes, we're going to have a body to decide the position of the European Union. But we see the European Union as the countries of the sovereign nation with free movement of people, money and goods. That's it. How can we, from Bulgaria, tell you what to do in Moravia with your land, with your houses, with the way you manage your cities? It's not our business. So why do we have to have unified laws? You want to have your laws that suit the people that live here. But you cannot tell us how to do our laws in the places that we live. But in the same time, we're not going to have borders. We're going to deal together. Your tractors and your planes can be used in Bulgaria instead of buying the expensive ones from abroad somewhere else. So we're going to start working in countries of interest and neighbors. I hear recently that the breakdown between Czechoslovakia becoming Czech and Slovak Republic, in a way it's good, but in a way it's not, because you became two smaller countries instead of being one big country. So if the European Union is not transformed and continue that way, it's going to start breaking down. But the breakdown is not going to happen overnight. You wake up tomorrow, oh, the European Union fell apart and there is no more European Union. The European Union will break in a different way, in my opinion, by forming internal contracts between certain countries. We already see such a contracts between France and Germany. We have the Visegrad's 4. What we're doing now is also something similar. You have problems, we have problems. These problems are similar, and we're looking for decision how first to help each other, to promote the idea of direct democracy, then to go to the European Union and to reform the European Union. So these contracts, this process already begun. And unless we reform the European Union, it will break, for sure.
Together we are stronger.
Another thing is very funny for me. We are probably the oldest European country anyway. And the Europeans now are going to teach us how to be European. Something is not right. So that's on that subject.
Mr. Klissarov, thank you for the interview, and I hope that my country and your country will cooperate together, and direct democracy will be maybe a new system, new power for many countries, and I hope that this revolution will come and we will see changes.
Yeah. First, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share with other people. I don't want you to think that we have huge success in Bulgaria. We are a small party, we are a very persistent party, we're gaining constantly more and more supporters. But what we are doing now, hopefully will show the Bulgarians that, look, if other nations see the opportunity and the chance of this, why can't you see it? We are here, we are doing it for you. Foreigners understand what we're talking about. You don't want to accept the fact that maybe Bulgarian did something. Many people in Bulgaria have a very low opinion of themselves and don't think that we can create something, which is not true. The alphabet we are using, by 400 million people use the alphabet, it came from our land. So why not a new model to come out from there? And as much as we can help you with giving you this, what we already have created, you can help us, because the Bulgarian will see that other nations are interested in it, and this may be going to work for the better of everybody. That's the idea: cooperation, decentralization, and working in a better world that we create ourselves, and not that it's imposed on us. The gender ideology, the democracy way that some people see that has to be exported everywhere. This time is over. So I thank you for the opportunity to let me speak in front of your audience and your country.
Mr. Klissarov, I believe that this is not our last time, and we will see each other in next months. Maybe we will cooperate together, Bulgaria and Czech Republic, in the future. And I hope that other countries as well. And thank you for the interview.
You're welcome.